in pairs, kind of like Riverside. So this is my current 8-foot setup. Yeah, Portos!
Little husband. $14, you can get a mini boyfriend.
What are ribbons?
Currency.
Shine Luna.
Hello and welcome to day 0 of Anime Los Angeles. It is officially my 71st event ever in my life. We just finished setting up. It took me a good amount of time. I will say we got here around 11 or so, and it is currently 6:07, so 7 hours of setting up. I will say there's a reason, and I will show you right now. So this is my current 8-foot setup. This is actually my largest setup ever in my life. This is an 8 by 6 foot display. As you know, if you've seen my other vlogs, I typically go only as tall as the 5-foot height, which is around 7 feet. However, I realized that I am able to hit the 6-foot height because I had extra grids and realized, why not put a banner there? Hello, who's this? Because there's a white box and there's only. Also, another exciting thing about this convention is that this is officially my 5th Anime Los Angeles, which is so wild to think because I've been doing this for 5 years. That is a whole kindergartner. It's also just funny to see how much my display has changed, because if you compare my 2026 display to my 2022 display, it obviously looks very different. You can definitely see the growth from 5 years ago to now. So very bittersweet. All right, time to go find Ivy. Ivy! Hello!
So many thousand
don't
things.
Don't worry. Your ribbon. So as an explanation, so it's easier for you to point out like which one they're getting. Yours is at the top, and then obviously bonus. But I also put tape on it so then you can easily remove it if needed. So this is a display, and then all the cards are in here as well as all of your ribbons. In and out with the friends! Yay! Hello, hello. Oh, she's taking the photo. Hello. Oh, she's just staring into my soul. That's so yummy.
How was I supposed to know?
We're doing a white elephant boba. So exciting. We get to choose a random boba. Money?
Am I guessing
Boba.
which one?
Money, and then Macy's like,
I had to blur it out on the. Had to blur this out on the vlog.
Oh. It's like pixelated. So this year, I am very prepared with my ribbons. I think I ordered about 200 to 300 of some of my more popular designs, and I will say that this is a lot. I don't think you need this many for Anime Los Angeles. However, I've been doing this for years now. I've perfected what ribbons do well for me and how many I need, so obviously your quantity will vary, but in my case, I have very many of them. They're all a little messy here, however, I do need to clean it up. But in order to keep that organized, I did have this ribbon organizer that I got from Goodwill, and it's quite nice. I essentially just labeled them so then I know what ribbon goes with what letter, corresponding with the ribbon menu that I have up front. So then over time, we'll just refill each one as it gets closer. I do need to add a little bit more, but I did want to at least know which ribbons go in what. And I'll show you the ribbons that I have for this weekend in a little bit. Good morning, it's 10:27 and it is day 1 of Anime Los Angeles. Technically, we were supposed to start at 10 a.m. today. However, it seems like there was a lot of people who are still setting up in exhibit hall as well as in artist alley. And because they did introduce security at the vendor loading dock area, it might have built up some traffic and probably a wait for people to come in. So they said, you know what, instead of 10, we'll open up at 10:30, which is great because it did allow a lot of people to have some extra time to set up. But we're here. We did get here around almost 9, maybe 8:40 or so, because I did need to film a few things. I filmed all of these videos because I needed to get them done and didn't want to wait till tomorrow to do them. There's a few things that I also still need to edit, and I also need to edit the SAC Anime vlog, which is funny because I did say during SAC Anime that I did not want to work on it during ALA. Does it count? Probably not, because day 1 does not exist to me. It's a vibe day. Very excited for today. If you're not familiar with Anime Los Angeles, even though this is my 5th vlog, just kidding, it's okay. You can start watching my videos at any time. If you're not familiar, Anime Los Angeles is a ribbon convention. Now, what are ribbons? Ribbons are these beautiful, shiny, decorative items that are placed on your badge. Most ribbon conventions will have a horizontal badge just like this. Sometimes they might be vertical, but maybe the badge is a little bit more wide. One other case is Anime Magic that does have a wide type of badge, so then you can put ribbons on there. I don't quite remember the width or dimensions of these ribbons, but I'll have it over here. And they fit these. I got these from Marco Promos. However, there's a good amount of other ribbon manufacturers. You can DIY them yourself. There's plenty of videos on how to do that. Just look it up on YouTube. Oh my gosh, who's that? Guest appearance.
Or of Mozzie.
Mozzie.
I saw her on the way in.
Hello.
Wow, it's kind of nice and spacious.
I have your coffee.
Notice how it's kind of cooked.
Oh gosh. I was explaining to them as to what ribbons are. What are ribbons in your definition?
Currency?
Currency. They are currency, actually,
con.
at this convention. Yeah. Why is it currency, would you say?
People want it, and they're willing to trade for it.
That is true. In comparison to a lot of other conventions, this con is where, I don't know why I got brighter, but forgive that. Usually with this convention, people are more likely and more incentivized to do, maybe this is drastic, but whatever it takes to get specific ribbons compared to a lot of other conventions where ribbons are not as prevalent. They go feral over these shiny things. Yeah. No kidding. All that is to say, with ribbon conventions, ribbons are a little bit more prevalent in the convention. There's a stronger ribbon culture, and people are more likely to know what to do with them. Because with other conventions that I have brought ribbons at, like TwitchCon, Anime Riverside, the Nerdbot cons, while they are trying to make it more of a ribbon convention, people are still not as accustomed to how they should use this, and so they're a little confused by what to do with them, unless you have an example. But with this convention, and I can assume another one like Dragon Con, which is a very strong ribbon convention, most people know what to do with them. Usually with ribbons, technically they are a community thing, so usually it's for trade. However, for a lot of vendors, a lot of artist alley vendors, it is pretty common to see them being available with purchase. So in my case, you're able to choose however you want to give your ribbons out. But for me, because I do invest a lot of money in my ribbons, I actually before I even say it, guess how much I spent on ribbons. And this is on ribbons for Anime Los Angeles, as well as for my rally. But guess, before I announce it, drum roll. I spent about $300 on ribbons. That's on how many? I think there's like 1,000 ribbons, 1,000 plus ribbons just on mine alone. Worth it. And that was also because Marco Promos had a sale at the time. Regardless, as I said before, you can only get my ribbons with purchase. For the pink one, you get it with $10 minimum purchase, and then the rest of them you can choose. I feel like I have more than this. I do have more than this. I don't have 6 ribbons, I have 7. I forgot to add that on the ribbon. Oops. For the other ribbons, including the My Type is 2D, which is not pictured here, but they are available with every $15 purchase. So if you want 1 ribbon, that's $15 purchase. If you want 2, $30, multiply it every 15 per purchase. And because there's only 7 ribbons, I don't want to have an unlimited amount of ribbons, though not very common. It still does happen every so often. I max it out at 7 ribbons, and that's about $105 of a purchase. Very happy with the ribbon this time. I will say this is the first time that I actually don't have fan art ribbons. You could say that the Otani ribbon is technically a fan art ribbon, and it is because it's not an original character. I'm really happy. I do like the direction that I'm going in with a little bit more original art, and I'm very excited for people to wear them. So if you do wear them, thank you so much, and very excited for today. We'll see how it goes. Tell me why I was editing my TikTok for my usual summary of events, and I saw that Kawaii Con was sending out more acceptances. We're going to Hawaii! Oh! I'm so excited, oh my god. I haven't been to Hawaii since I was 5. Because usually, if you don't know Kawaii Con is I believe it's one of the bigger anime conventions in Hawaii, which is why some people do fly over there. I will say some people have, especially people who are from the US or like mainland US, they are opting out of not doing Kawaii Con this year because there is construction happening. That also means that they're capping attendees, so there won't be as many attendees going as past years. So of course, in that point, Kawaii Con is usually seen as a vacation convention, and in that sense, you are not expecting to make certain numbers. I already went into applying Kawaii Con with that mentality, mostly because I usually am not able to apply because I'm either in Japan or I just have something going on. But this time, because I don't really have anything going on that weekend, this is crazy. I feel like the past few vlogs is literally just me either applying to cons or finding out that I got into a con. So thank you for being a part of it. That was very exciting. Heading over to Gian because apparently her internet's not working. We gotta go see her. I don't know where she is. She's here. Hello. Is it okay if I move the bar temporarily? Okay. We divvied up our 85 degrees bread. I got the salt bread, so something simple, ube bread, and then I had 2 hot dog breads, and then my helper got the other bread, so we're set for lunch and we're not gonna starve. That's a good question to ask. What's your most expensive product? Because people love talking about money.
Hold on, let me jot that one down.
Yeah, write it down. I'm getting interviewed.
We're on Stickers Do Journalism this year.
Yeah, he's in his journalism era.
I am, and less vlogs, more journalism.
I would say that my favorite product is my plushie headband because if you follow me on socials, I love collecting headbands, especially the ones from Universal Studios Japan. A lot of the theme park culture in Japan is mostly surrounded with really cute things, and one of them is their plushie headbands. I wish they had it in the US, but unfortunately I would have to fly there to get it myself. A lot of them I've collected include anime characters, Sanrio characters, and the like, and I wanted to make my own with my own original characters, which I was inspired by the ones from Disneyland. You can remove them, so you can like move them around, switch them, or if you just want one character for whatever reason. I did also make another one of my other character to add on here, but so far it's just these 3. And I thought they were so cute because now I can wear them at cons and it's fun. So it's a little bit later in the day. It is 4:10. 4:11. I will say I did mostly edit my Zach anime vlog for the rest of the day just because I really wanted it out. Luckily it will go up tomorrow, so. However, I just did go to the restroom and it's so interesting being able to walk around briefly because it is almost night and day how busy the artist alley is compared to the exhibitor section. And even though we're in the exact same hall, it is one large hall, if you didn't know. And Artist Alley is just in a small section of this space, and essentially they're a lot more busy in Artist Alley, and that I wonder if it's because the aisles are a bit more narrow compared to exhibitors and that there's just a lot of people just walking through. Not to say that last year the quality was not as good, because that's definitely not the case, but this year, as I was walking through the aisles, it's so interesting seeing the increase in quality in Artist Alley displays, and I've always been saying this every year. This year is no different. However, I'm seeing these towering displays in Artist Alley that you see a lot of decoration, or a lot of the displays are either themed, like I see one that had clouds on it and they used some kind of polyester fiber or such to make their display look like they're on clouds, or they're using a lot of lights. Some people have a bakery themed display. Just in general, seeing how ALA and just Artist Alley has changed in the past 5 years. Granted, I have only been doing Artist Alley since 2022, so I am part of the post 2020 Artist Alley group. It's just interesting seeing how drastically the quality and essentially the base quality has adjusted, because I remember when I first started, this is my display from before, this would have been considered nice in a sense. In a way, at the time, you could get away with wire grids and then just putting your product on there. Not to say that that is a bad thing right now. However, if you do want to stand out in the Artist Alley space when the caliber of Artist Alley displays are top notch, unless your art is out there, you can't just have just wire grids, especially if it's only 3 tiers tall. Obviously, there's a debate in that, do you really need an extravagant display? I don't think so, but it is something to consider. It's also the reality of the situation in Artist Alley. But of course, you know, everyone can have opinions on what they think Artist Alley should be, but that is the truth in the matter, at least from what I see as someone who does do this full time. I do have to work now because I didn't really do much work today except for editing videos. I'm honestly really sleepy. I'm really tired. And my tummy hurts, even though I did eat. I don't know, I'm just exhausted. I honestly feel jet lagged, even though I didn't fly anywhere anytime recently except Texas, and there's no reason for me to feel jet lagged from Texas when that was a month ago. I'm feeling the things right now. Let's go find Ivy so she can use the restroom. We're walking through the aisles. Let's go see if we can find her. Obviously, we'll find her. She's only in one spot. Hello. We don't have Izumi matcha, so we're gonna go with this. My plain pho for dinner. Yay. Again. Good morning. It is day 2 of... Tell me why I was going to say SAC Anime. But it is day 2 of Anime Los Angeles. It is 8:49 in the morning. We have about an hour until con starts today. Again, just like yesterday and just like tomorrow, it is from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., which are very long days. But essentially today, I will be working more because I don't have a vlog to edit. I do need to promote the vlog that just came out, actually. I'll do that after I film this. But looking at yesterday's numbers, I will say I'm pretty satisfied. I mean, it's okay. Basically just hit what I'd like to make for my minimum. So by that point, my expenses are paid off since, again, I have free housing here. I'm from the LA area. I'm essentially paying for booth fee, helper, food. So nothing too crazy in terms of expenses. So by this point, the next 3 days are essentially profit, which is quite nice. As I've mentioned before, I do have a bit of nostalgia for this convention, and the reason why I feel pretty attached to this one is because ALA was my first convention like ever in my life, at least in terms of vending. My first ALA was back in 2022, and I believe that is the first ALA since quarantine. And I've proceeded to do ALA every year. The first couple of years I got into the artist alley because it wasn't too difficult. And I think by the by the fourth ALA, actually the first 3 times was artist alley, but by the 4th ALA, it was hard to get in. So thus I was in exhibitors. Now that it's the 5th ALA, since exhibitors do have priority over table spots compared to newer vendors, I thought I'll just stay in exhibitors and just choose a spot that is a little bit closer to artist alley. So as you can see, this is my table. This side is Kelsey Kishi Draws' table. Is there a sign? No, but essentially the ribbon station is over there. I'll show you. Like, does it show? Ribbon station is in that direction. And then Artist Alley is all the way over here. So if you head this way, it's Artist Alley, and Artist Alley is just a couple booths away, so at least we're not too far. We're essentially in the direction of where people would be going in because the entrance is in that direction. So I will say that this spot is significantly better than last year, because if you remember last year, if you visited me at ALA or you watched my vlog, I was all the way in the back west corner where not a lot of people were going. It was pretty far, I will say. Even though yesterday's numbers were not necessarily amazing numbers, it is still day 1. It's a Thursday. Most people have work. Some people are probably just coming in Saturday, Sunday. But yeah, I would say, not too bad. Can't get mad at it when my expenses are pretty low. I will say that besides my better booth location, the other saving grace is the ribbon rally that I'm in. So if you don't follow me on socials, which I do recommend, I am at Mualcaina on pretty much everything. My friends and I are participating in an In-N-Out ribbon rally. Very excited about it. Essentially, you get a free ribbon with $10 purchase, and if you collect all 5 of the artist ribbons, you do get these 2 bonus ribbons. And essentially my goal with that particular ribbon rally is that obviously you're going to immediately get some kind of immediate gratification with getting a ribbon as soon as you purchase, right? And some people are probably collecting certain ribbons, like maybe they want a double, maybe they want a hamburger, maybe they just want the fries, or they just want the shake, they just want the cheeseburger, and so on. And if they only get that ribbon, that's done. They don't need to participate in the rally. However, even though you immediately get a ribbon, my goal is that they visit every single table, because of course, when you're participating in some kind of rally, your goal is that everyone benefits from it, right? And in this case, in order to help everyone get more balanced sales in terms of the rally, rather than more people going to one ribbon over the other, we offered 2 bonus ribbons. And in this case, the 2 bonus ribbons is this really cute In-N-Out menu ribbon, as well as this ribbon that I drew with all of our OCs eating In-N-Out. And essentially, after you get all 5 of the artist ribbons, you can just go to any one of the artists. I did allot it so that every single person has the bonus ribbon, so if someone finishes a rally, they don't need to walk all over Artist Alley. I know that is one of 2 ways that most people usually set up rallies. It doesn't have to be ribbon rallies, but just stamp rallies in general. One way is one artist has all of the prizes. Hello, oh, she's dancing. How- yeah, Portos. She has the potato balls. One artist. Hello, I love the green. You look so cute. Oh, yay! And she has the matcha. Wow, they're matching.
I am so on brand today.
Ivy, the matcha dealer.
Yeah, nobody dealing this.
Nobody dealing. My vlog this weekend is just gonna be vibes. Yeah, hi! Look how cute! This is so cute.
Powerpuff Girls.
You so much.
Thank you so much for your
This is so
videos.
sweet. It's Ivy. Yay! Oh, she's hit it. Where the plant?
Oh yeah, the plant.
It's like, wow, she even showed up. Thank you, ribbons. Hello. Oh, he's scared. We're visiting the Sticker Zoo booth. Wow, looks so good. Hello, it is 11:17 in the morning and a little over an hour since con started. RIP, my ribbons are fraying, but it's okay. I will say for today, again, con just started, so I'm not expecting much since it is a slow start. However, I would say that a good amount of the people who have been shopping so far are people who did want to shop yesterday. However, we capped out on In-N-Out ribbons, so they came by today. Was able to redeem them, which was quite nice. So gave away a few bonus ribbons, and all is good. I would say since I did order a crazy amount of ribbons this weekend, we're not anywhere near to going through all of them. However, I would say the most popular one so far is the Otani ribbon, which I'm not surprised by because Los Angeles. Also, we got this cute little gift, which is so cool. It is from Ellie, and they made us into the Powerpuff Girls, since we did say during the AXGB vlog, if you know, you know. Since we're all essentially next to each other, I thought it was really sweet. And look how cute, he looks so good. Thank you so much. I have come back because I didn't realize that I needed to format my microphone, but what was I even talking about? Essentially, ALA for me is a little bit like FriendCon. Not even a little bit, it is FriendCon. But similar in that for AX is also FriendCon. However, it's too busy of a convention that I don't even want to get dinner with friends afterwards because I'm just exhausted, and I feel like most people tend to feel the same way, especially if we know that we're going to see them at another con. But usually we just want to go home and knock out. However, for ALA, since it's not as busy, it's not as exhausting, though it is exhausting in a lot of other ways, but just not on the same level as AX. We do have more time to have dinner with everyone and hang out every so often. So to me, that is how FriendCon is, at least for ALA, because even though there are a lot of friends in the other conventions like Anime Riverside, Anime Impulse, it's different in that a lot of the non-California or non-SoCal locals are willing to travel for this convention compared to the other ones. And so this is usually the reunion con for a lot of us. I know for some other artist friends, I haven't seen them since last ALA, just because we never have the same overlapping conventions. So it's really nice to see everyone. Very fun. We also had matcha from earlier. I'm trying Devian's matcha Einspanner. Pretty good. Wait, can I see? What? Oh my goodness, that is so... Wait, and it actually works like a ribbon. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. La Boo Boo Con. Oh. Yay, thank you. I finally got my stickers from Ashley of Spooky Stickers, so now it is time to start labeling my glassine bags. So if you didn't know already, or if you haven't shopped for me in person, I typically don't have the really nice custom printed bags that a lot of people have. I do want to get to that point, but right now it doesn't seem feasible for myself, so I use these glassine bags. And since they aren't branded, I do put my business card in them. I just put one of my sticker labels on them, and these I did order from Spooky Stickers, so I usually add them on here. I just find that these are a really quick and easy way to brand your packaging, because the worst thing is someone buys something from your table, they want to see who they got it from. One, it's already a bad thing if they don't have a business card in it or just some kind of identification that says where they got it from, but at least just putting some kind of logo or brand name on there will help a lot. You don't even have to go as far as buying custom stickers to do that. You can even use a thermal label printer. If you use one of the thinner 2x1 labels, print out your brand name on there, and then there you go. Now you have some branded packaging. If you didn't already, I do stream on Twitch. I stream about once a week to once every other week, where I work on convention prep, upcoming stamp rally designs, products, and hang out with Artist Alley friends, and so much more. So if you don't want to miss out on the next stream, consider following me down below. I am at Mualcaina on Twitch. Hello. I have not really vlogged at all today, unfortunate. It is 6:17, so less than an hour until con ends, and I get cream barbecue. Yay! Low-key, I really don't have my numbers per day from last ALA, so I actually don't know what it's like in comparison, because I can say that last year's con was a little bit less or could have been better. But then when you look at the actual stats, it's completely different because my vibes are always off from the numbers. Honestly, today is okay. Hit base minimum of what I'd like, which is, again, all I can ask for when a con is local to myself. But I will say it is definitely on the slow end. Even for other artists in Artist Alley, of course it depends on the artist. There are some who did have lines. Some of them also faced less lines, if not big gaps of customer interactions. Even with visiting some artists in the Artist Alley, there were times where there were a few people and then there were just a lot of time in between. So it's honestly interesting because to me, I would have thought that this year would have been a bit more busy than last year, if not just more transactions in general, because there's no fire. Last year there was obviously a horrible natural disaster. Of course, it hindered a lot of people from wanting to go to this convention. Some people did have to back out. However, this time, besides what's going on in the world, there isn't anything in the immediate Los Angeles area that is preventing people from going to con. Of course, you can also say, it's the usual thing that I say in every single vlog. The economy is not very great. A lot of people don't have a lot of discretionary income. So I guess that might be the move for 2026 or just something to consider. Of course, what's happening here in ALA is not necessarily representative of all the conventions that are happening in the SoCal area, everywhere else, but that seems to be the case for this event. You know, I'm just happy that I have a lot of friends at this con. It's nice seeing everybody. The vibes are great. Customers have been great. It's really cool because a lot of them who did come by either bought from me at Anime Expo or they saw me at a lot of other conventions. And a lot of them have been showing their Ita bags, so I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really like seeing how everyone decorates their Ita bags because some of them are so decked out or they're super creative, like it's specific to one character, or they just put all their pins on them and it just looks super shiny and super pretty. Everyone's very creative, so I really appreciate it. Thank you. Hopefully the next 30 minutes is not too bad, and I will see you for KBBQ. Very excited.
And then it was that whole like,
Wow, I'm so excited! Good morning. It is 8:36 in the morning, and I'm so tired right now. I feel like I say this at every convention, but I honestly, if I didn't have coffee, which I don't usually drink coffee, I know it seems like I do through the vlogs, but I don't drink coffee outside of conventions. And this is the only time where I genuinely need to have some type of caffeine, because otherwise it would be like last year where I was napping a good amount of con. And you know, I'm trying to untangle this. Ivy came through with the Einstein.
Yeah, I got your
Yay,
Einstein matcha.
my Einstein matcha.
Your matcha
Einsteiner.
is like-
We're both maids. Like dun 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 dun. It's cute. Wow. Wow, everyone looks so cute. We could actually do the star too while we're all maids. Oh wait.
Like the middle one.
Oh, okay. Are we doing it? You already did it.
Are we a star?
Are you a star? Oh.
Just Cheyenne Luna.
Yeah, so it's just like in pairs, kind of like Riverside. Oh my god. I love AOT. Hello. No, thank you. Hello. It is 10:23, and it is day 3 of ALA. It doesn't feel like it. Oh, low-key feels like day 4, but it's okay. I would say the con feels a little busy now, but little sales here and there. I would say some people are slowly coming in, which I'm not surprised by, since for some people, if they have work and are not willing to take PTO for Thursday and Friday, they probably would come in Saturday and Sunday. So we're anticipating that today might be the most busy day of all 4, as it usually is. There's only one time in ALA history for myself where Thursday was actually better than all of the other days. And I think that was 2 to 3 years ago. But we were able to get all of the videos that we needed to film. There was a few that I did need to get clips of, but we don't have time. And everyone's back at their table, so we'll just resume that tomorrow. If you didn't already, I do have a Patreon. I post a lot of small business advice, upcoming products, and sneak peeks of new designs. that I haven't shared on social media quite yet. And in the Biz Buddies tier, I do post con reviews that I don't share on social media and YouTube. If you want to help support me and the channel, consider supporting me on Patreon. It is now 4:12 and it has been a hot second since I last went on camera. Mostly because there isn't really too much to update. I will say because I did have to pick some people up from the front and give them their badge. There is a lot of people inside this convention center. However, for a good amount of them, I wouldn't say that they are buying, or if they are buying, they're mostly purchasing smaller items like stickers, maybe 1 pin, 2 enamel pins. So it's really interesting seeing that happening in real time because when walking around, it's pretty packed. I will say in the artist alley, I don't really know what the distance is, but it's pretty tight that it might be about 2.5 people to 3 people in terms of width. So naturally it's gonna look packed. You can even say that it is pretty packed in the exhibitor side, and I think there's about 20 feet in between the different booths, and there's definitely a lot of people. There's a lot of people. It's really cool because there's a lot of cosplayers. When I was chatting with one of another friend's friend who I was guiding through the artist alley from the entrance, they were really surprised because they noticed that there were a lot of cosplayers compared to some of the other conventions that they've been at. And I would say that overall, whether you're an attendee or you're a vendor, ALA is very much a fun convention. Some people might even label it as a party convention, mostly because people go here to have a great time. This is a convention that a lot of people travel to as well because, one, the ribbons are a very big appeal in that it's a lot of fun to do. It gives attendees a fun task to do throughout the convention. I don't remember if this year it's also happening, but I believe there's a pretty big cosplay competition that's happening. I know it started last year, and ever since then they've been hosting it at ALA, so that also explains why there's so many cosplayers present. But it's a very fun convention. We got scammed out of ribbons. Story time. So apparently there's an attendee who has been scamming us of ribbons. And how do you get scammed out of ribbons, you ask? Obviously my emotions are still fresh, but I will keep it professional. But essentially, this person came by and they were like, oh, well, they did buy something, we will say. They did buy something. So they bought a pin. I don't know what pin. So we gave them the ribbon. They completed the stamp card. This is...
Oh, no, wait, it was a company.
Well, they got a keychain, actually, not a pin. We were the last booth for them to visit. So my helper marked off to say that they received the bonus ribbons because once you complete all 5, you get a bonus ribbon. They essentially asked, and I remember my helper was confused because I would also get confused if I was asked this question. They looked at the ribbons and said, oh, I didn't receive the other ribbons. Do you have them? And I thought, no, you would get them. My friends are smart enough to include a ribbon with purchase. That excuse also did not comply with what a typical person might say when it comes to like, oh, maybe they lost the ribbon. But instead they said, oh, they didn't give me a ribbon, which I don't think they would do that. Like, you're telling me all 4 people did not give you a ribbon, but okay. Because otherwise they would have communicated in our group chat that they didn't give a ribbon. But I know we didn't cap it the past couple days. So we're like, you know what? Okay, here's the bonus ribbon. You need to go to every single booth to get that. And apparently I did tell the group chat, like, oh, this person's wearing this. They claim that they did not receive a ribbon, just to let you know. Unfortunately, they did not see the group chat quick enough, and that person had hit every single booth and got bonus ribbons. So they took multiple ribbons than was allotted for them. You can claim it's just a ribbon. That's true, it's just a ribbon, but unfortunately, that's not fair for people who did actually follow how Stamp Rally works. And you know, it kind of sucks when people try to take advantage of small businesses in that way, even if it is just a ribbon. And this is just something that we wanted to do for fun because now it makes me not want to give out the ribbons if someone does actually lose said ribbon. Again, this is just coming from a place of anger. Who knows if I post this, but even if I do, it's really unfortunate that some people will resort to something like that when it's just a ribbon. Things happen. This is not the first time that there has been attempted scam on stamp rallies. I think in one case, I forgot what con it was. I think it was Saki Anime. 2 years ago, last year or so. I don't remember. I think it was 2 years ago, where there was this one group of cosplayers who had come up to each table saying that they bought something, but they didn't receive a stamp. And luckily we did communicate it with each other, so then we just stopped that. But, unfortunate timing. Could have been worse, but, it is what it is. Oh, good, because that's all I have right now. What is that?
I'm not cute
Anymore.
You know where he can go?
What the heck?
No, you always have Raphael with you.
Little husband.
My husband.
Is this going to be your favorite love interest, Macy?
Perhaps.
I've heard you're so good.
Wow, I love it. Thank you so much. My headband went up in $20 price.
$14, you can get a mini boyfriend.
We need hers and mine,
Oh,
but
like
I just
video?
need like really quick,
Okay, yeah.
just random people dancing and stuff. Yeah, I don't know where they went.
They're right here, they're right here, they're right here.
Oh, guys. I know, that's why.
I think you're just going to have to film them from afar.
You film-
documentary.
Henry, are you filming right now?
No, I'm good.
Okay, can I just use you for a sec? We can have you guys in it as well, so it's more fun. We're just like walking through the aisle. Hello, it is day 3. Nope. Hello, it is day 4 and the last day of Anime Los Angeles. I'm really tired, but it's okay. We did have a little bit of shenanigans earlier today where we filmed a little bit and got a few videos out of it, so it was a success in my opinion. Some information about Anime Los Angeles. I paid $1,118 for an exhibitor booth. It is a 10 by 10 booth, and because I did split it with Kelsey Kishi Jaws, we both paid $509. I don't believe there is a limit on how many people you can split this table with, because I think there's a few tables where there's 3 or 4 artists in one 10 by 10 space. It comes with 2 chairs, 1 8-foot table, and 3 exhibitor badges, so we were able to split it since I do have a helper, and Kelsey ended up using the 8-foot table since she did fly in, and I just brought 2 6-foot tables. And with that space, we ended up having 8 feet each, and then there's a 2-foot space for us to go in and out. This convention is held at the Long Beach Convention Center in Long Beach, California. It is a 4-day convention that is usually the second weekend of January. Typically, it falls around the same time as SAC Anime. However, this year and last year, they were on different weekends. I would say that if you are a returning vendor, you do get dibs on vendor spaces. I believe I paid for mine in June. I do remember it was happening before AX. I think for other vendors, I don't really know how the order is determined. I'm assuming the longer you've been here, the higher up you are in the placement, but really not sure. This is the entire space for exhibitors. We are essentially in the same hall as Artist Alley. However, we are closer to the entrance, and then Artist Alley is towards the center. I will say Artist Alley is a bit more busy, but it might also just look more busy because the spaces are smaller versus exhibitors. There's a lot less space for people to walk through, so naturally it's going to look stuffed. But I will say I do like the stability of knowing that you will get a space in the vendor hall if you are a returning vendor, because I am not in the mood to join that bloodbath of trying to get an Artist Alley table, because my assumption is that if it's going to be first come first serve again, it's going to be hard to get in within the first few seconds. So I'm not about that life. I'll just stick with a vendor spot. I do get this question where they ask, do you need to have ribbons for this convention? As I mentioned previously, Anime Los Angeles is a ribbon convention. So there is a very strong culture surrounding collecting ribbons, gathering ribbons, trading ribbons, and so on. Obviously, it's up to you whether you want to trade or not. I personally just don't. And in the case of, do you need to have ribbons for this convention? I would say it depends on the person. However, it is very, or at least from my perspective, I would say that it has been tremendously helpful to have ribbons for this con. I don't think you need them per se. There are a few artists that I've noticed who don't have ribbons or don't provide ribbons with purchase and so on, or they don't trade them. But in my case, I have noticed that there were a lot of purchases from people who specifically wanted the in and out ribbon. And a lot of people would make the minimum purchase in order to get that ribbon. Would they have bought for me if I didn't have that rally? I'm not sure. But from what it seemed like, a lot of people were only buying for me because they wanted that ribbon. So I can imagine that if I didn't have that ribbon rally, or if I didn't have ribbons available, they might not have bought for me. So do with that information with what you will. But I would say that for this convention, it would help a lot if you have ribbons. I'm actually not quite sure the attendee count for this event. I heard in the past that it's usually a little over 10K, but honestly, I feel like with this convention, it's not necessarily a shopping convention, it's more so a fun ribbon party convention. I will say in past years, I am able to depend on ALA being a pretty good con. However, now that it's been years since quarantine and it seems like the spending power has stabilized a little bit compared to the peak back in 2022, 2023, maybe even 2024. Even though I'm not in the artist alley, would I recommend Anime Los Angeles for most artists? I would say no. And there's a reason for that. Even though there are a good amount of artists that I have seen around here who are definitely not from California, not from the SoCal, Los Angeles area, if you have to fly and you are not an established artist, this con might not be for you. And I say that because there are a lot of artists that I notice on the Discord who are saying that they barely broke even or they did not break even and they're in the artist alley. I believe Artist Alley is 500 something, maybe like $510, somewhere around there, or 520. If you as an artist are not able to confidently break even on that number, I would say don't do it. You are able to split a table with an artist. I know a few artists who have a corner spot and have decided to split that table. At least you can get it down to 250, 260 or so, especially if you're not local, because your cost to stay in the Long Beach area, especially if you don't have a car, is going to be expensive. Long Beach is very much a touristy area. People don't come here just for the convention. Some people come here because they want to see the aquarium. They want to go to the beach. There's also the Queen Mary that some people like to visit. So the surrounding area at this point is going to be a little bit more on the pricier side. My expenses for this event were relatively low. When I did look at my expenses, I would say that it was around $1,500. I don't remember, and that's not including lodging. So imagine if I had to pay for hotel and then I had to pay for flights, that could easily be over 2K. Obviously, that might be lower if you're soloing or you have a place to stay in the area or you have a car. But if you don't think that you would be able to break even on about 2K, 1.5K, maybe reconsider this event. I would say that in the past, I would have recommended this con. However, it seems to be on the slower side. I don't even know if it's going to be a little bit better next year, because I would say that I was relatively confident that this year was going to be better than last year. But even with all these numbers, I would still do ALA again. I'm local, so it's kind of a no-brainer at this point. Plus, I do have a lot of nostalgia and an attachment to this con because it was my first convention ever, so I'd love to come back every year if I can. But I would say for most people, especially if you're not from the area or you're really new to Artist Alley, I would reconsider doing this con. However, as a caveat, I do understand why a lot of new artists are attracted to this convention for many reasons, but these are some that I have considered. One is that this is one of the few major anime conventions that still has first come, first serve. Now that a lot of cons are going to the juried route, possibly even the lottery route, it is very difficult to get into those conventions when you are a very, very new artist. I will say that I don't know how it's going to be starting next year, because I think on the Discord staff was considering a different form of application because a lot of people were mad about the first come first serve situation. But as of now, we do know that it's first come first serve, so that is why a lot of new artists are here. Also, number two, it is one of the first conventions of the year. I would understand that a lot of artists are trying to think, well, if they want to start with conventions, they'll wait till the new year. And obviously it's the new year, so this is their way of starting their convention journey, as was with mine. And also another one is that sharing is allowed. Very few conventions now, especially in the SoCal area, do allow sharing. AX doesn't allow sharing. Anime Impulse doesn't allow sharing. And with one of the few major conventions in this area, they do allow sharing. And I don't think there's a limit. So it makes more sense for these new artists to want to lower their costs and share a table space, because why not? Why would you want to pay 500 something when you don't even know if you can make that back? But all that is to say, Obviously, you can do whatever you want. If you want to try it out, maybe you'll do really well, because there are a few artists here that I've never seen before, and they seem to be doing really well. But they are a small portion of the artists, and for most of us, even when I am in the artist alley and hanging out with friends who are in the artist alley, there's a lot of people, but it doesn't look like they're buying, which, again, to preface, I totally understand because, the economy's not great right now. So I don't blame people for wanting to stick to a budget, because I wouldn't want people to go into credit card debt trying to buy things. And that is just something that you need to consider when you're going into this type of business. So I'm curious on your thoughts with this information. Would you want to try Anime Los Angeles? Have you done ALA before? Did you vend this weekend? How was your opinion on the crowd and buying patterns of everyone? Because maybe for myself, I did okay, at least numbers wise. It's fine. I'm not too crazy about it, but it's also not really, really bad numbers. But for some people, they probably did amazing. And for other people, they probably did not have a very good time, because there was also a lot of theft at this convention. I saw one artist lost their money pouch, which is horrible. I would not wish that on anyone. Always have your money on you. Once your eye is not on your money pouch, it's gone. It's gone like that. And then I saw a few other artists who had their displays stolen, which is crazy because they also had their display covered up, yet someone literally went under their cover, stole it, and then they just took it. And at that point, I wasn't sure if it was an attendee or a vendor or like staff. Like, it could also just be like convention center staff that has nothing to do with ALA, but regardless of who it was, it's just horrible. And then the whole ribbon debacle of someone trying to scam us. They didn't try, they did scam us of the ribbons. A ribbon's a ribbon, but still, just the morality and the idea of it really sucks. But I still had a great time. I was able to see friends. I saw a few people from elementary school who actually inspired me to get into anime, which is crazy. Cried a lot. I'm a crier. And then saw some other friends, was able to network with other people, and overall great time. So it is 1:38, and today con ends at 6 p.m., which is quite nice because I'm exhausted, my eyes are tired and strained, and I have a lot of things to do in order to prep for next weekend's convention. So if you didn't know, I will be at Anime Impulse Los Angeles next weekend, and it is the last con of my 3-part convention weekend. I'm very tired. I will say it is quite nice to end off with Impulse LA because 1, it is a fun convention, but also 2, it is only a 2-day convention, so I'm pretty local. Oh, hi! How are you? Also, don't forget to hydrate. I need to drink some water. I've been pretty guilty of not drinking enough water. Got my Ola here. But if you'll be in the Pomona or surrounding areas, I will be at Anime Impulse Los Angeles. I am in the Impulse Artist Alley in Hall 6. I think it is right next to the Asian American Expo, and I will be at 6407. I am right next to Drawn by Ivy, which is so funny because if you didn't know how Impulse LA does their applications, essentially it is first come, first serve, at least within the priority list. You can easily get cart swiped, and I talk about this in my Impulse vlog, but you can easily get cart swiped, and there are times where you'll choose a table, go through all the information, pay for it, and then it turns out someone already paid for it, so then you kind of have to keep going back and forth. And I think this was the second time that I did choose this specific spot, and funnily enough, when I was texting Ivy, I'm like, oh, I got this table for Impulse, and she's like, oh my god, no way, and she got 6408, so we're right next to each other, so that'll be fun. It'll be a fun weekend. After that, I don't really have a convention for January, which is nice because I do need the break. And then I don't have another event until February where I will be back in San Jose. I'll be in NorCal again. Very excited. I get my Izumi Matcha and my Curry Hyuga. And I'll be back for SJ Made Friend Fest, which is a fun convention. I love that event. I'm glad to be back again. I don't think we have our table spots yet, but I will post about it when we do find out. Starting in March, I have a bunch of out-of-state conventions, so I will be at Anime Milwaukee. I believe it's the first weekend of March. It's early March, and I'll be in the Artist Alley, so very excited to be in Wisconsin for the first time. And then in April, we will be at KawaiiCon, so going to be in Hawaii for the first time as a vendor, so very excited for that one. I think the only two other conventions that we did confirm besides those was Anime Expo and then Phoenix Fan Fusion. So I'll be in Phoenix Fan Fusion in June, and then after that will be Anime Expo. And then after that, I don't have anything confirmed, so I will let y'all know. Feel free to follow me on socials. I typically post my upcoming events on Instagram first. That's usually when I post the acceptances. If I'm waitlisted, I don't post about it because I'm like, I don't know if I'll be in it, so there's no reason for me to post about it. But hope to see y'all at one of those conventions. Let me know if you'll be there.
Hi. That's an ugly angle.
Yeah, hope to see y'all at any one of those events. Cannot wait. Very excited. I'm lots of traveling this time. I also want to thank everyone who stopped by the table, especially if you're from YouTube, social media, or have just bought from me in the past. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I also appreciate it when y'all got the Ita bags or bought a sweater and show me how you decorated it or how you're wearing it. I really appreciate it. It's because of y'all that I'm able to do this full time. As I've said before, this is my full-time job, so my income is directly dependent on conventions, content, and being able to do this is just a dream. So I really appreciate it. And for the gifts, thank you so much. It's definitely something that you did not have to do, and y'all do it. So I appreciate it. I have it all in my office. There's like a little space with all of the gifts that y'all bring. So thank you. Now that you know how Anime Los Angeles went this year, if you're curious on how last year's Ribbon Convention went, click on this video to see my ALA 2025 vlog, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.